Oliver.
Hi guys, all right?
Hey, you're coming through perfectly. Am I coming through okay?
Yeah, all good to me.
Excellent.
All right,
All right,
Eden.
brother. Good. Oh, I can't see Eden. Where is he? Oh, okay,
I
here
can
we
see
go.
him. I
Here
can't
he
hear him
is.
yet.
How's it going, man?
Hi, how's it going? Good, you?
How are you,
Not too
brother?
Good, thanks. I could put you in full screen. There we go. Yeah,
I've
not
got
bad,
all the
thanks you.
screen now. What I will do is whoever speaks, whoever the microphone is picking up, comes to the fore, as like before, Oliver. So it's nice. So it'll be the four of us, but as the recording goes on, whoever speaks is the one who's in the main focus. So it works quite nicely.
Nice. Oh, nice background.
Yeah, not bad, is it?
How do I do that?
Well, I've got a green screen, so
Virtual background.
Jimmy's got it as well.
It depends what device you're using. I've got the old iPhone 11. So
Oh, okay.
Virtual
I'm
background.
on my Mac. So I don't think I can.
It should give it to you. How are you, Doug? Nice to see you, brother.
yeah, pretty good. You?
I'm very well, thank you, sir. Very well, thank you indeed. Yeah, really good.
Eden, you cold, mate? You want to grow some hair?
Please tell me you're still bowled under there.
I was
No.
going to ask actually.
Oh, man. Whoa.
God damn!
Nice.
Lot coming through.
I can play a whole different character now.
Yeah.
I forgot to tell you, we need to do a pickup shot of you. So I need all that gone by next week.
Yeah, actually.
I don't think that was in my contract. Let me just go and double check.
Have you seen it yet? Have you seen it
fair
yet,
play.
Eden?
No, I haven't seen it.
Oh, haven't you?
No, I haven't because, well, I've only got. Here are my options. I could watch it on my crappy iPhone 5 or 6, whatever one I have. I don't even know what kind of phone I have. That's how bad I am with phones. And I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
Or I could wait till, because the link doesn't seem to work on anything that I've tried it on that's got a bigger screen for some reason. I don't know why.
Is that the Vimeo?
Yeah, I mean, I'm terrible with technology. The only way I'm able to get it work is on my crappy little phone, and I don't want to watch it on that.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm being patient.
Oh, grandpa,
we send you the
grandpa
video.
Eden over here. The technophobe.
Yeah, I'm surprised I'm even talking to you guys now, actually. I think that's a bit of a miracle.
It's an achievement. Well done.
Thank you.
Oh, it's fantastic. We've come together, gentlemen. It's a real nice follow-up because Ollie and I, as I'm sure you've seen, discussed, you know, the preliminary kind of promotionals. And yeah, it's going to be really nice to kind of chat to you guys, being very pivotal in both of your own individual roles. Eden, you as the main star, and Doug very much pivotal as a producer. So we'll just get straight into it, guys. We can do the intros, the outros later on. I can chop and change. So yeah, is everyone happy to just jump straight in? What I wanted to ask you all individually, and Doug will go for you first, is as you know, human beings very much immersed and involved in film and, you know, the arts, creativity and all the rest of it. Can you remember and talk me through like your first immersive experience in film, that kind of first experience, Doug, that you remember watching something and it just kind of got into you, under the skin, or just stuck with you?
It's a long time ago for me. I'm old.
Oh, give us what you've got, brother. Give us what you've got.
It was probably God. It was in Chelmsford at the flea pit there, and my dad used to, or stepdad used to be able to take us along to premieres because they had them in local towns then. It wasn't just, you know, up in London. They had premieres in the local town. The mayor would come down. He'd have little snacks and so on, canapes beforehand, and so I got to see quite a few films that way. But the first one that really made me go, wow, was Close Encounters of the Third Kind, or Close Encounters, I think it's called. And that one really blew me away, more than Star Wars. So I guess that was it. It was the story, and I was thinking at one point, oh God, this is slow, this is really boring. And then I just found myself sucked in and, as you say, immersed. Yeah.
Ah, fair play, fair play. And if you would be kind enough, Doug, can you give us a little bit of a succinct synopsis of your kind of trajectory from there until now, if you would?
Succinct, short.
Well, don't be too succinct. Come on, now, give us the good bits.
So, so basically, yeah, I love that film. I also love theatre. I went to see lots of theatre as a kid. Every birthday we'd go and watch a play or a musical. So I kind of fell in love with acting and wanted to be an actor. And then I realised I wasn't very good at learning lines, which can be a problem. So I kind of I stopped being an actor and became a chef, and then a hotel manager, and then lots of other things. Got married and had kids, and then my kids went to drama school, and I got hooked again. And I found sometimes I could actually learn lines, so I started getting some small parts in provincial theatre and so on, and also working as a background artist. Sometimes known as supporting artist, which is what we're supposed to be called, or just an extra. Or some people like to say hungry furniture, because that's basically what we are in the background. But we help make films look more believable and real on the big screen, and that's something that I still do from time to time. Still enjoy, still meet lots of fantastic people through both cast and crew who I can then work with. So it's really good fun. And so I started doing that. I started getting roles in small independent films. But I also started to find that I wasn't getting the next stage up. I wasn't able to progress, and I couldn't afford to go to drama school. I did performing arts at college, but I couldn't afford to go to proper big drama school. And I had a young family, so I started making films. The DSLRs came out that you could record video on as well, and that for me really exploded then. And I ran a small local web TV company, and started making films myself. And it kind of just went on. And I met some great people, friends, who suddenly said, like Billy, my friend Billy, who Ollie's worked with as well. And he said, I've got this film I've written, what do I do? And I said, well, let's read it. And I thought it was really good. So we made that, and then we made other ones. And now we've got short films on Amazon. And that's how I met Ollie, through, college, and me doing some work at college, and another mutual friend, Paul Moss. And Ollie came and worked with Billy and I as a camera assistant. And then Ollie said, I've written something. Oh, and I've made my own short film. Do you want to watch it? And yeah, here we are.
Well, that's fantastic. Thank you, brother. I appreciate that, because it segues wonderfully. And Eden, forgive me, brother, I will bring you in thusly, but it segues nicely into my next question for you, which I may as well ask now, is can you tell us about your first impressions of Ollie and his work and his visions, and how your impressions have evolved and changed, and your relationship has developed from then until now?
Yeah, so first impressions were, don't let him handle the lenses. Yeah, he was pretty accident prone to start with.
Very much like myself then.
Yeah, he was very young.
Dyspraxic.
Suddenly, that happens. So yeah, he was just enthusiastic, so enthusiastic. It was great. But sometimes you'd be like, are you all right, Ollie? Because he'd be watching everything and really quiet. And I guess that was his thing. He was watching and learning as he went. And that's why, we were kind of surprised, but not surprised when he made his own short film and then came with a feature script, because yeah, he was constantly watching. And how's it evolved and changed? Well, obviously he's grown into a young man now, and he's made this film. It's great. He's got very strong ideas of what he wants. He's no longer afraid to say that, whereas before, I guess, surrounded by so many old farts like me, it was difficult for him to get his word in when he finally did speak. And now he's got the confidence to do that, and justifiably so.
Wonderful stuff. Thank you, Doug. I really appreciate that.
Thank you very much, Doug.
There we go. Lovely, wonderful stuff. And it's nice when these kind of relationships blossom and develop into these kind of things. So, Eden, allow me to bring you in, brother. Would you be kind enough to kind of give us your slight on the same angle? What was that first kind of spark that you were like, yeah, this is me. I want to, this is what I want to do, or whatever it was for you, whatever your kind of moment was.
Yeah. Well, the first film that I remember is Jurassic Park. And I didn't see it in the cinema. I had it on video.
Right.
because it came out the year I was born. So obviously I didn't see it in the cinema. But the excitement was, you know, I remember being so, and when you're a kid, you can watch a film a million times. You can just watch it over and over and over. And I remember having that on video and just constantly wanting to watch it. But I think after that, because everyone kind of has that first film that they remember, but after that, I think when I was about maybe 11, I watched, and I shouldn't have been watching it, but I watched Reservoir Dogs. And it was kind of like, losing my film virginity, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, it kind of changed everything. Like after I saw that, I was kind of like, I was no longer interested in certain films anymore. It was a complete game changer. It was kind of like, wait, hold on. Like no one was the good guy.
Disney will no longer suffice.
Yeah, exactly. It was kind of like, okay, I have no idea why that was so amazing, but it was so amazing and I'm shocked and I don't know how I feel, but I feel very strongly about it. You know, like it was kind of like I saw films in a different way after that. So I would say Reservoir Dogs. I would say Reservoir Dogs is the thing that kind of enticed me into it. And I think that was the kind of moment when I sort of decided that changed the path of my life, seeing that film at that age, at that time.
Fair play.
Yeah.
Thank you, brother. Yeah. Would you be kind enough, Eden, to tell us about your kind of journey of how you've gotten into acting and your progression up until your connection with Ollie and how you guys connected and the journey afterwards?
Yeah. So I did it in school. I mean, loads of people do it in school. And then I left school quite young, and then I was training to be an electrician, and I really hated it. And then I ended up going to acting classes on the weekend, and then eventually, and at some point during my teenage years, there was a point in time where all I really cared about was watching movies, and I wasn't really interested in the real world. I only cared about films, and I was so uninterested in everything else. I just wanted to watch movies. And then I kind of thought to myself, okay, like, how can I get in? Like, this is what I want to do. How can I get into this? So at first I kind of thought about maybe writing films or maybe being a director. And then I was already going to these acting classes. And then I got to about 19 and I just kind of said to myself, okay, I'm just going to try and go to drama school. And then I auditioned for one, I didn't get in. I auditioned for another and I got into that one. So it didn't take me long. The hard part was paying for it. But I worked as a postman to pay my way through drama school, actually. Little known fact for you.
Good man. Good man.
But it got to a point where it's like, look, I want to be a part of this and this is what I want to do. And I'm just going to go for it. And if I don't make it, I don't make it, but it's fine because whatever. And then I went to drama school and then I met loads of amazing people there. And it was a crazy, 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 crazy experience. And I met a lady called Thea at that drama school, and she is in this film, The Blackspot. And I met Ollie through her.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's what happened, basically.
Ah, nice. And can I ask, Eden, when you were kind of given the script and whatnot by Ollie, what were your first thoughts and how did you kind of approach the role? Did you go into kind of method acting? Were you walking around like an assassin, giving people the evil eye, or hell, what was your process, brother? How did you get into it?
When I first sent Ollie the self-tape, he didn't like what I was doing.
Okay.
And he kind of said, no, I don't want it like that. I want it like this. And so he sent me a kind of something to give me a better idea of how he wanted it. And which is perfect because I think a lot of directors are not very straightforward, or they find it very difficult describing what they want, or they won't be direct enough in what they want. But as soon as he told me what he wanted, and he made it very simple for me, I knew exactly what to do. And it was kind of easy from then, you know?
Yeah.
And even the whole time on set, it was very easy to take his direction because he made it simple. And again, I think a lot of directors get hung up on this thing where they want to go into this really complicated talk about how they want you to do your performance, when really it can be so much simpler than that. I mean, Ollie would just say stuff like, do it faster, do it slower, you know? Whereas a lot of directors go, okay, but I just want you to, you know, think about the vulnerability and, you know, think about the childhood memory of this time and blah, blah, this and that. And that's, you know, you're talking alien talk to me when you talk to me like that. I don't really understand what you're talking about. But Ollie made it very simple. He was just like, slower, faster, no, like this, you know? And that, for me, that's perfect. So, yeah.
Thank you, Eden. I really appreciate that. I was just saying, as you were just describing there, you know, faster, slower, you know, whatever it is there ever a time when anyone says, I want it a bit more like boom, and give a person's name, like a certain actor's style? Has that ever been a thing? Or as I say, it was just a thought that popped into my head, you know?
Has a director ever told me to do it like a certain actor?
Yeah, it was just a thought that popped into my head. I was going to ask you, did you kind of take any certain influences or kind of maybe any kind of, you know, guidance from kind of similar people who've played similar roles, I guess, through your own film history? And you said you've been a film buff for quite a while. But yeah, just that thought of, oh, give me more, you know, actor of your choice. I'm not going to say a particular actor, but does that make sense what I'm asking? Or
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. I think with the role that I played in this film, I mean, it's very much, he doesn't really say anything, my character, but he's in it a lot. And so you kind of have to maybe act without talking, which can be a challenge sometimes, but basically you have to use your eyes. And one of my favorite guys for doing that, I think, one of my favorite actors for doing that was Oliver Reed. You know, because he could just sort of stand there and just scare you. And he would, like, if you ever see him in a film, he doesn't blink. And so when you're doing acting that, you know, you're not really talking a lot, but you're trying to, if you want to be intense, I think if you've ever got a role where you don't have a lot of lines, but you have to be scary, look at a guy like Oliver Reed.
Nice. Good. Thank you, brother. That's exactly what I was looking for. Yeah, there's always that one person you go, this kind of fits, you know, because nothing new under the sun and all that kind of jazz. So, Oliver, allow me to bring you in, brother. Can I ask, how have you found your own kind of, it's very nice, actually, just to kind of mention briefly Eden's commentary on your directory skills, your direction skills, you know, being new to the game and whatnot. And I think anyone who knows you, Oliver, you're a very beautiful, mild-mannered young gentleman. But you know your vision, you knew what you wanted. And how did you find that kind of process of being able to just kind of get that vision across? Clearly, Eden was very kind of very nice dynamic between the pair of you, where you gelled. Was it like that with everyone? Were there any kind of issues? Not to kind of call people out, I don't mean you like that, but was it a kind of a lovely organic experience? Any difficulties, the highs, the lows? Give us some.
Oh no, it was.
Give us some spiel.
It was a really nice experience filming with everyone. But obviously, everyone is a different actor, so everyone's going to act differently and react differently.
Yeah.
So it's very much finding out what worked with everyone. Because I noticed Charlie, who played Soldier 23, pretty much before every shot, every scene we did, he'd do a warm up. He'd do like breathing exercises and vocal exercises. So just like.
Quite the sight that was, yes, when he was outside the flat. I was like, oh, this guy is serious.
Let him do his thing and stuff like that. So actors work in different ways, and
indeed, yeah,
it's just getting to know them as a person, what works for them and what works for me. So yeah, it was just a highly enjoyable experience, all in all. I was going somewhere with this, but I don't, because everyone's working for free on this one. So I will never raise my voice or shout at anyone or be mean, because
That was very much an
don't
influence factor, Oliver. Yeah.
just
of
treat everyone
course.
nice, and then we'll get on, and it's happy. Yeah.
Not
I've
that even
been-
if they were paid that you would be any different, I guess. But I do
no,
understand.
even if you were paid, I wouldn't treat anyone
Of course,
differently.
but I understand the point you're making. Yeah, of course. Yeah.
I know. Well, me and Doug know like how much pressure and how much there was going through our head at any one point when we were on that film shoot. Time constraints, and just because we're in charge of everything on that shoot, so it's like a skill to learn how to be like calm and level-headed throughout the whole thing. Because I've been on sets and the director lost it a bit and shouted at people on much bigger sets than this.
Very uncouth. Yes.
Which is fair enough, but that's just not something I'd like to do. So yeah.
Not your style, Oliver.
No.
Not your style. So thank you, gentlemen. This is really nice kind of information, really kind of getting to the core of it all. I want to ask each of you individually, but Doug, I will ask you first, sir. Can I ask you, gentlemen, how are you kind of managing your dreams, your visions, and also your expectations as they were kind of pre-COVID? You know, the world is changing day by day. We're in a if I'd said to you last November, we'd be here now this November as we are, you would have gone, yeah, oh, come on now, Jimothy. But we are where we are. And how do you see things? How do you see the future? You know, the game has changed, and I know things are still going on Netflix and stuff, but for your own individual kind of visions and journeys, are you having to kind of adjust
very much.
Your plans and everything else? Doug, might you go first, please, brother?
Yeah, so I mean, it was just initially like the first lockdown was just like, oh, what's going to happen now? And it was frightening. I just started a performing arts business. I wasn't employed by my own company. I was self-employed. I changed lots of other jobs, and you know, it was really, 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 I'm going to say it, fucking annoying when some
say it because it's true.
London says retrain, do another job, reskill. I mean, fuck you. People working in this industry and any creative industry are already doing that. Eden said he was trained to be an electrician, but then working as a postman to get himself through drama college. Ollie, I know, works behind bars, does loads of other jobs as well. I do loads of different jobs. I work as a chaperone as well. I teach, a dog walk, look after my mum. I drive a van delivering for a company that, you know, I use but kind of think maybe I shouldn't. The big one. And so, yeah, I mean, I do that. I deliver parcels because I've got to do some work and I can't drive a big truck anymore, which was paid better, which is another great job I did because of my back. So it's small parcels instead. But yeah, so, I mean, it was scary. But I think the thing is, you don't give up, you don't give in, you do all of those things, whatever that dickhead in London says. You are already doing them and you're doing your best. And I'm not going to give up, you know, even if it means I end up in a one-bedroom flat. I'm still going to chase that dream. I'm still going to keep trying, and hopefully each time we make something, it gets a bit better, and you work with different people and you have new experiences. So my thing is, time management is so important, and so I have to be stricter about that with myself and with people I'm working with, particularly when there's no finance involved. And so I guess that's the main thing that's changed in me, is that realization that I'm an old fart. I don't have that much time left to put a roof over my head and security for when I'm much older. And so this has actually helped me realize that. But apart from that, I think it's been a challenge, and it's seeing. I also run film festivals, Swindon Independent Film Festival, and very soon the Student and Young Filmmakers Awards, which will be based in Reading but is international, and we get international films in, and we obviously had a flurry of films that were Zoom based or people sat at home. And then, you know, I thought, okay, well, that's interesting. And then you very quickly got bored of the Zoom ones. and then just other amazing ones, just so inventive and so clever, done on people's smartphones, or if they had the good full kit, they were managing to do stuff at home and coming up with really good short stories. And I was just so impressed and inspired by that. And I think, you've got to remain positive, and if you really believe in yourself and what you're doing, you've got to carry on. And I have to say, I think the two people that were in the film together with me, well, all of us were in it, I guess. But yeah, I think never give up on your dreams, guys, because you're all great, and you will get there in the end. That it might not be exactly what it's going to be, but you're going to get there in the end. That Ian's doing a runner now.
Doug, I really appreciate it. Thank you, brother. And before I rotate that question, allow me to ask you to segue into it, because I was going to ask you anyway. What we see now, Doug, is an absolute change in the game with all these smartphones. I've got an iPhone 11 Max Pro. I've got a DJI On4 gimbal.
Yeah.
Steve's got a Mavic Pro drone. The playing field has been leveled now, because before jeeps and jibs and helicopters, the ability to create the content now, the playing field has been leveled. So now it's about this.
So it's all about that and the story.
Yeah, can you elaborate a little bit on that and your thoughts and how you've seen that playing field being leveled? And businesses have folded, right? There's businesses who relied upon being these really expensive contractors for, and then they went, well, the Chinese are making drones now. We don't need helicopters anymore. Can you give us a little bit of your kind of thoughts on that, please, brother?
I mean, I'm really pleased that it's opened the market up, so that it's always difficult to get into film. It still is difficult to get films out there to the audience. You can make them now, but it's getting them out there, and that's still difficult. And when I started, we were thinking we're not going to go down the film festival route because it's too expensive, it takes too long, and that's a whole thing of itself. We're going to do it a different way. We're going to approach TV execs direct, and it nearly worked actually, but it didn't work, and nothing followed on from it afterwards. And to get a lot of money, you have to have experience working on something successful. So that means going and working with the big boys. So there's still barriers, but quality will out. And if you can now make really high quality stuff with very small equipment, you've got to use your head to think about.
Blair Witch Project springs to mind. Forgive me for interjecting, but that was a kind of game changer, wasn't it? The old Blair Witch kind of thing. It's a similar kind of paradigm, I think.
Absolutely. And I think it does mean, there's so many places to look at stuff now, Netflix and Amazon Prime and so many more, Hulu and so on, that there is so much out there. So they're still sort of saying you can make anything. If it's good enough, we'll put it up there. But if we're going to give you the big bucks, you're still going to use the big equipment, because who knows, we might have 8K TVs and God knows what in the future. And that sounds ridiculous, but they're already shooting on 8K cameras. So,
well, the VR's there. I think if you've seen Black Mirrors, I think that's all there. It's ready for. They're just going to drip feed it to us when it's all coming.
Yeah. I do think it's great, and I do think what it means is that we are going to see a shift. And again, with the closure of cinema theatres, that we're going to see a shift to more online, but people are going to expect to see more for their money. And by that, I don't mean that it's got to be shot with all this incredible stuff. What I mean is you've got to think about stuff. And as good as the graphics are getting, and that's the big thing, CGI is so expensive, and sometimes it is hard to tell what's real and what isn't, which is good, because you don't want those horrible oh god, that jarred me out of that. I was really imagining I was in there and you've just taken me out of it. You don't want that to happen. But I think the skill and what you're going to be able to do and what you can do in camera, as we call it, now, I think that's going to shine through, and you're going to see much more stuff going old school. And trying to do it that way, and the fact that the text got so much smaller means you possibly can do it that way, and that more people can come up with brilliant ideas and ways forward. I do feel sorry for those guys that perhaps bought helicopters or the rental companies that have the big gear and perhaps aren't selling it as much. But having said that, there's still a market. There is still a market for that. And if you look at, we're obviously talking about theatrical filmmaking, but if you look at commercial filmmaking, I've got friends in that business, and I'm the budget end, and they're not. They've got the big bucks, and there's still people wanting that high quality work. And I think there always will be. It's just like some people will go and buy a fake Dior, and some people will go and buy the real thing.
Yes, indeed. Very true. Thank you, brother. I really appreciate that. So first of all then, Doug, how can people get in touch with you if they so wish?
So I'm on Facebook, Doug Kirby. I'm on all of the social, not all of it. I'm not on TikTok. You don't want to see my dance moves.
Oh, come on now, Doug.
I'm on Instagram as Doug Kirby, and on Twitter and on Facebook. You might also see me sometimes as Doug of Dark Water. And if you think that's weird, well, it's just one of those gaming things from back in the day when we used to play on tabletops. So yeah, Dungeons and Dragons. So that's how you can get hold of me. I'm also on mandy.com, so both as crew and as cast. So if you want a weird looking old guy in your film, with or without the red glasses, I couldn't find my new prescription, then yeah, you can get hold of me through mandy.com as well.
Beautiful. Thank you very much. Appreciated. And if you'd be so kind, just to round off wonderfully, favorite film, if you can choose one. If not, you can give us a few. And most obscure recommendation.
Oh my God, favorite film. I could
on the spot now. I know I'm the same. You can give us a few if you want. Give us 4 or 5, whatever. If you want to just read them off.
Is always in the list, and so I'll mention it. It's always in the list. We lost one of the actors very recently. Is The Untouchables. Absolutely love that film. Really, really do like the story telling, and there's just some amazing, fantastic scenes in there. So I'm just going to go with that one. One that people may not have heard of. I'm going to get it wrong, and I can't even remember the director's name. Ollie might be able to help me with this. Brotherhood. It's a Korean film about two brothers who go to war.
Korean films are always the best. Always.
So it's like Band of Brothers-ish. It's
okay.
amazing. It's a great story. And the nice thing is you not so much, but you do seem to get a bit more of the female perspective in there as well. And they're not throwaway characters. They're genuine. They're only in there briefly, but it's a big saga. It's just beautifully shot, fantastically acted. And I will look it out and I'll ping it across, and you can put it on the notes or whatever.
Wonderful.
And for Ollie, with Nell and I, of course, for acting.
Ah, well.
Yeah. But you can talk to Ollie about that one.
As we'll notice, I've had a couple of Campbell carrots myself, but we'll say no more than that. Doug, you've been an absolute gentleman, sir. Thank you for sharing your time, your experience, and yes, let's hope for the best now for the Blackspot. And yeah, thank you for encouraging the youngsters as well, because yeah, let's not, it's difficult times, but let's not let the dream die, right? Otherwise, what are we here for? Yeah.
Absolutely. Thanks so much. Cheers.
No, my absolute pleasure. Thank you, brother.
Hey, Doug.
Thank you, Doug.
Thank you.
Awesome.